Okay, hi Ange. I thought I would do one more video today for you. This is one I haven't done for a while. We're going to do homemade raw yogurt. And I haven't done a lot of dairy because I've just read so many different things about dairy and how many people have dairy sensitivities and have a hard time, especially pasteurized dairy. I really don't believe that people should have pasteurized dairy even if they don't have the dairy intolerance. There's just too many things that go in that milk, and it's just hard on the body. But fermented dairy is a whole different food, so a lot of people do really well in yogurt and love yogurt, and there are a few good sources out there, but if you can make it yourself, it's even better. So our neighbors that may or may not be polygamous called me the other day, and they had some extra milk from their farm. They have a little farm there and some cows, and so when they have milk available that's fresh, just like we grew up, Ange, just, you know, with the cream on the top, everything, then I'll go buy some from them, and it's great. So I take the cream off the top and I put it in my freezer, and a lot of times we'll make ice cream with it and use some coconut milk with it or whatever. So, you know, that cream is actually a really good fat if you can get it from good cows, and their cows are totally, they've got a lot of land and they graze, and so I know that they're treated well. So it's pretty easy to do this, but a little tricky with raw milk. So if you're using regular organic milk, you can actually, you'll probably have a better chance of the consistency even turning out a little smoother, not quite as runny. Raw milk is a little tricky. I do have something that seems like it has helped the last time I made it, but it's a little hit and miss. But even if it comes out runny, you still have all these beneficial bacteria in it, and you can use it in your smoothies, or we make popsicles a lot in the summer. So, you know, I can use it for things like that with some like fruit creamy popsicles. So there's lots of ways, even if it turns out a little funky texture, you know, not quite the same. The ones in the stores have a lot of added ingredients to get them that consistency, but it's not always good ingredients. There's a lot of like smoothing agents, you know, agents that make it so that it mixes well together, but then they're chemicals. So anyways, first you put your milk on your stove. So I actually am doing the whole gallon. I put milk on the stove, and I have a little thermometer here that just tells me the temperature. And because I'm trying to keep it raw where I don't kill the enzymes, and I have kept it right to about 110 to 115 degrees. If you're using regular organic pasteurized milk, then you can actually go all the way up to like 160. It won't matter because all those live enzymes have already been killed. But you want to, if you do bring it up to that high, then you want to let it cool down to about 110 before you actually are going to inoculate it with the regular yogurt. Okay, so you just bring your milk up to that temperature. I'm actually going to pour it in this container just so when I pour it into the jars that it will pour easily. So this is just milk that's heated to 115 degrees. That's when I just checked it and stopped the oven at that temperature. Okay, so it's just warm. It's like if you stuck your pinky into it, it would just feel warm. It wouldn't feel really hot. And then you just fill up your glass jars with your milk. And like, so when I have this, and I kind of just played out watching my kids. If they do well with it, then we keep doing it. I know Maya, because she's the one that usually has yogurt. She does really well, but she's a really good eater, and she eats things that a lot of kids wouldn't eat. And I just feel like she's got a really good gut bacteria, so she just does really well with it. So if I'm gonna buy it anyways for her, I might as well make it. And then if my other kids have any skin issues or digestion problems or anything, then we just take it out. It's not a big deal. But usually some of the benefits of yogurt, you know, is you have better digestion because of that bacteria in there, and it also helps, you know, starve off things like candida. I mean, it gets all those good bacteria in the gut, and so it's your own homemade probiotics. So it's great to use. So with this raw, and you can do this when you're using regular too, but it's not as necessary. But because I'm using raw milk, I am gonna add some gelatin. Now you can buy gelatin from, it's called Radiant Life, and it's a really good source of grass-fed gelatin, and this has tons of nutrition in it. So I'm going to put 2 teaspoons in each jar. And what this gelatin does, just like how it does Jell-O, is just going to help thicken the yogurt, because raw milk yogurt is runnier. So you could just skip this step if you are using regular, or you can add it for just the nutrition of it. And I'll put a little link to where I get my gelatin from. I just get it online. So when you're whisking this though, you gotta really, really whisk it, because it will clump and make it like Jell-O at the bottom of the jar, and then the rest of the yogurt will be different. So you gotta really whisk it in there. And I might do a little bit more after the video's off even. I mean, you wanna get it so it's just totally mixed. You can't see the gelatin at all, it's all dissolved, okay? So you do this with all your jars. A lot of people just use like a half a gallon when they do this, because they're not gonna go through that much yogurt, but because we don't really drink the milk, I just feel like my kids are more sensitive to the milk, except for Maya, she probably could, but I really just bought the milk for the purpose of making yogurt, so I'm doing the full gallon. Okay, so like I said, you wanna whisk that till you don't see it anymore. Now to each jar, you are gonna add yogurt that you either made before or you bought at the store. And like I said, I use by the Trader Joe's brand of whole fat organic yogurt, but Nancy's is a real popular brand. You can probably find that anywhere, even if you don't have a Trader Joe's. I bet it's a Whole Foods or anywhere. And it's Nancy's organic yogurt, Greek yogurt, I think. So I'm gonna add, and this you can kind of add more too if you want, but I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons to each jar. And this is more than a lot of recipes you'll find online. They'll do like 4 tablespoons for the whole gallon. But like I said, with raw, I just remember doing it and all the time having some different results of like runny and kind of separating more. It's just trickier than regular, and so this is what I have found. Between like 2 and 4 in each jar is what, about what I use. So you just add your regular yogurt, and like I said, you just need to make sure the milk has been cooled down if you are using regular milk, and you just whisk that together. Just get it all stirred in to this warm milk. Okay, and then after that, there are different ways you can do this, but basically what it does is it sits in about a temperature around 100 degrees, if you can keep it that way, for anywhere from 8 hours to 15 hours, even to 24 hours it can sit there, okay, in this consistent temperature. You don't want to move it a lot. You don't want the temperatures to go up and down a lot. So one method, I've done it in a crock pot before, that works, like just putting hot water in the crock pot up to about the lid of the jar and just putting the lid on, and letting that sit, and then after like 5 or 6 hours adding some more hot water. So that works. I've done it in a cooler where you put a towel in the bottom of the cooler, put your bottles in the cooler with the towel, wrap it around it, put a pot of steaming hot water, just set the pot in the cooler and let the steam come in the cooler, and then put the lid on. That works really well. The laziest method that I use mostly, if I'm not going to use my oven, and I already know what I'm going to do tonight for dinner, I don't have my oven, so I just turn on my light in my oven, set the jars in the oven so that the oven's not on but the light's on, and set the jars in there with the light on. And a lot of times I'll even wrap a towel around my jars just to keep them warmer. And that's it for 8 to 12 hours. Now after that, don't just automatically open it and eat it. It's got to cool completely, especially if you add gelatin. Remember, the gelatin doesn't work till it cools. But that's when it thickens, is when it cools. So you just let it cool completely, and you can keep it in your fridge. And I think it'll last, it's gonna last probably a good month at least, but when we have it, we just use it. So it could go sour, but like I said, if you ever notice it starting to go sour or anything, just make some smoothies with it, make some popsicles with it, just kind of use it up. You can always use it in recipes too, anywhere you need to. So this is a great way to save money on probiotics too, and just get some live enzyme and bacteria in there. And if you're buying yogurt anyways, if you're someone that likes yogurt, then try to make it yourself. You'll save a ton of money on, it was $5 for the gallon, so I just got 4-quart jars of yogurt for $5. And like I said, the gelatin is not expensive. You get a big bottle, but you usually only need a couple teaspoons each jar. So that's it. I hope you like it. Okay, love you, Ange. Bye.